Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Malifaux, and tonight we've got Lilith's Neverborn versus Asami's 10 Thunders. For terrain, we've got the usual forest. This hill is nothing, it's just a height 1. We've got height 2 inserts in these walls, and then height 1 in the middle that you can pass through. These rocks are height 2, height 1, impassable blocking terrain, severe terrain, and this house, the walls are impassable and blocking, and the black bit you can walk through as normal. Looking at the table spread, it's quite interesting. So I'd class this as a closed centre board because we've got a big building and this nice rock here, but also some big firing lanes. My opponent, Skit Happens, lost deployment flip and chose to set up here. He's got Amanozako with recall training and smoke grenades. And I love the Amanozako model and I'm looking forward to it doing good things. A Monk of Low River, Asami, with Servant of 5 Dragons, Nefarious Pact, and a Heavenly Design. Mr. Tannen, with the Peaceful Waters upgrade for the Low River Monk. Apparently this is quite good. Kamitachi, Terracotta Warrior, Thunder Archer, interesting choice. Lilith's not too keen on those. And a Tengu. Facing them, I brought McTavish, the Primordial Magic, Lilith, with Beck and Malifaux and Aether Connection because neutralise the leaders in the pool. And Illuminated, the Mysterious Effigy, the Doppelganger, a Beckoner, and another Illuminated. The plan, well, the strategy is Headhunter, so I can play defensive. Lilith's going to use these choke points to block up with her trees. I've got the Beckoner and the Doppelganger to lure my enemies towards me one at a time, and the Illuminated and McTavish to finish them off. The Mysterious Effigy can pick up the heads, and once the main body of our crews clash, the Beckoner and the Effigy can start dishing out exhaust. I understand Asami's pretty difficult to kill with her placement and her good defences and her hard to kill and healing, so I'm not going to do neutralise the leader. Convict Labour and Leave Your Mark require separating off models from the main group, leaving them vulnerable to being headhunted, so I'm going to go with Covert Breakthrough. McTavish is going to hang around by the back, so if anybody comes around this area to start dropping markers, he can shoot them and eat the markers. The same kind of thing on this side. And I'm going to play Lilith with the Lone Wolf style and send her up. Tangle shadowing into the backfield to drop all the markers, which will also protect her from neutralise the leader a bit if he tried to take that. There's the plan, let's see how I do. Turn 1, like the professional I am, I've forgotten my fate deck, so I'm borrowing my opponent's. Very kind of him to lend me his spare. Early doors, the Terracotta Warrior swaps out Asami's Servant of 10 Thunders for her Grasping Tendrils upgrade and puts his protection ability on the Archer. I try to waste activations by jiggling my Primordial Magic around, sending the Illuminated up to be in position in the centre, one dropping a marker for McTavish, and basically waiting for something to come within lure range. And something does. The Tengu swaps sides and starts to come over here. I'm thinking he was trying to get into this nice empty space. And the Beckoner strikes. She moves up to here and then coaxes it towards us, coating herself in birdseed and licking it off suggestively. And the Tengu just can't resist, so he comes towards us and the Beckoner pushes back away to safety. The Wonder Weasel goes, pushing Asami and the Archer forwards. I'm dropping more markers for McTavish. And then the Beckoner copies the Doppelganger copies the Beckoner's seed trick, luring the lustful Tengu straight into our welcoming arms. McTavish shoots the Tengu but pathetically can't kill it, so it's up to Lilith to walk over, whack it with a sword, killing it, dropping her head over here, right next to the effigy, and then she walks over here. Central, well defended, and on the flank where I can make my breakthrough. She then drops down the trees to shield us, and I actually did measure the distance because I want the Beckoner to be able to walk up and just be able to touch her toe in it so she can see through in the next turn. Asami has summoned a Tengu over here, and the Archer was just out of range to shoot these guys, and so shot at Lilith. She did a high card to keep her safe. At the end of the turn, the Tengu flickers out and drops a scheme marker there. So now I've got to consider whether or not he's trying Convict Labour or just trying to lure me out. Turn 2, a fantastic hand. I didn't even have to Soulstone. Love double Russian magic. I get the initiative, the Mysterious Effigy picks up the head before anything can get in here and annoyingly block me. The Archer senses he's in a bit of trouble, and I think takes a shot, not doing anything. The Beckoner then walks up, beckons him closer, and then pushes back away from Retribution. Asami then goes, tangles the Archer right back over here, summons a yokai, places next to him, and then summons a obsidian Oni. Perhaps a little bit more worried than I should be that the Oni is going to target my Beckoner. I go with Lilith and switch the trees, protecting this flank and opening up this one for some shooting and beckoning from the Doppelganger and McTavish. Lilith then just jinks herself a little bit closer into range and then puts Wicked Vines on Tannen and the yokai. The Thunders start to mass around the centre, and my plan is to pick off Tannen with the Doppelganger and McTavish, because taking him out before he gets within 6 inches of my crew would be very helpful. But the Terracotta Warrior swaps out his protection onto Tannen, and so I change my plans. The Doppelganger copies the Beckoner, and apparently the Thunder Archer likes a lady coated in birdseed too, because he comes a-running. But Amenozaku leaps to the rescue, flying to the range of Asami so she can take a 1 charge action against my Illuminated. She hits home, does some decent damage, but I love how tough Illuminated are, and he's still standing. Here's where I make a bit of a mistake, so I charge this Illuminated at the Archer, placing him here to try to block off Amenozaku from getting any ideas about tangling up with Lilith, but annoyingly I can't finish the Archer. And then, yeah, I don't know what I'm thinking, so McTavish charges the Archer, tries to finish it off, drops the head over here next to the Doppelganger, eats the marker for an attack on Amenozaku, and fails his Horror, ending his activation. Why I didn't just shoot the Archer, I don't know. The Low River Monk moves up and takes the Wicked Rooted condition off the yokai, who then charges my Illuminated for 1 action. Uh-oh. But I get lucky and he Black Jokers the final damage flip, preserving my Illuminated on 1 wound, I think. Finally, my Primordial Magic just slinks up the side and the Obsidian Oni does the same. And at the end of the turn, he flickers out and drops a scheme marker, which my opponent then picks up for Leave Your Mark. Turn 3, I get a pretty abysmal hand, and after Soul Stoning, at least there's quite a chunk of shitty cards out of my deck. I lose the initiative, Amenozaku pops her Recall Training, and frickin' wallops McTavish. I'm used to this guy being really survivable, and yeah, he takes a red Joker damage that my opponent cheated in. Amma then finishes him off, cry, and uses a Promising Whispers just to jink the Illuminated out of range of the head. I go with the effigy, pick up the Thunder Archer's head, and then accomplice to the Illuminated, who heals up, and then takes out the yokai, dropping his head here. The Terracotta Warrior swaps out Tendrils for equality on Asami, and the Kemitachi either pushes someone or draws a card. The Low River Monk dives in and collects McTavish's head, and I exhaust Amenozaku with my second Illuminated. My Primordial Magic makes a break for it up the flank, and Lilith chooses a chance to tangle shadows up to him and then run for the backfield. I'm rather worried about Tannen coming and making her insignificant, so I try to move the forests and fail, but at least I think I'm out of range until next turn if he comes towards me. I think the Beckoner and the Beckoner and the Doppelganger have tried to take out the Low River Monk with Despicable Promises and completely failed. Asami goes, summons a Tengu over here, and then gets around to block up the scheme marker, head marker even. And we end the turn like this with Tannen moving towards the centre, away from Lilith, which is great. The Tengu moves over to here, flickers out, drops a scheme marker, so my opponent scores Leave Your Mark and Headhunter, and I score Headhunter and Exhaust. Turn 4, look at all those shit cards drop from my hand. After a bit of larks, drawing on the initiative flip, and then cheating, and then soul stoning, the Neverborn prevail, and the Doppelganger goes and picks up the head from under Asami. Suck on that! The beating starts on the Illuminated with the monkey on his back, and it's pretty savage. The Terracotta Warrior swaps out smoke grenades on Amenozaku for another Recall Training, and yeah, that's going to be unhappy for me. Mr. Tannen bores the Illuminated literally to death. The Mysterious Effigy exhausts Asami, and the Beckoner pulls the Low River Monk towards her and exhausts him. Amenozaku demolishes the Doppelganger and then whispers the Doppelganger to come over and join her, freeing up the monk. The Illuminated then skips around to protect this head. And then Asami summons a yokai on the hill and then skips around to place on top of the head marker over here. We later realise that she can't place in contact with markers and correct that. The yokai goes, hits the effigy, and they're pretty savage. These guys are hit pretty hard, but the effigy clings on. Being outside of Tannen's discard card for cheating range was big help. Lilith starts pooping out scheme markers in my opponent's deployment zone, and the monk does the same in mine. So at the end of the turn, my opponent picks this up for Leave Your Mark, and I score Headhunter and Exhaust on the monk. This yokai then flickers out, dropping a scheme marker. Turn 5, I'm just ahead on points. but my centre is about to crumble. Can the Neverborn hang in there? I get the initiative, and the Beckoner tries to kill the monk with her despicable promises. The idea here is that I will try as hard as I can to kill him, and then the effigy can go pick up his head. Despite my efforts, I only hit min damage on the first attack, and then stupidly just go for the second attack anyway. I should have used the pleasant distraction, whatever it is, to stop him from dropping any scheme markers or interacting. That would have forced him to then kill the Beckoner, which would take the heat off the Illuminated. It might have been possible for him to get out of line of sight behind these trees, but I'm not sure. Anyway, I think that would have been the better thing to do. I consolidate myself by getting the effigy to just pick up the yokai scheme marker. Everyone starts beating on the Illuminated. He's healing up as best he can, and he almost takes out Mr. Tannen. Almost. That was quite upsetting, and it burnt through the rest of my cards to try to do it. I can see the Illuminated isn't long for this world, and I try something a bit risky. I don't know what my opponent's second scheme is. I don't think it's neutralised the leader, but it could be. But I quite like to take risks, so Lilith gives up on her marker dropping mission, runs up over here and tries to tangle shadows to the low-willed Terracotta Warrior, and her engagement range should stop the Ten Thunders from picking up either of the heads. I burn my last zone from Mask, but can't win the duel, so Lilith stops there. I'm not too disappointed by that. I'm a bit worried that Asami is going to try to kill off the Primordial Magic before he can run in for the touchdown, but I figure her AP is needed to score more points rather than deny me one. Skit pulls quite a nice move with the Wonder Weasel. He walks it around behind the Terracotta Warrior, breaking line of sight with the Illuminated. I think gets a push out over here and then uses Asami's aura to 1 AP charge the Illuminated. And the furry little bastard brings down the Illuminated. Who'd have thought it? And so we end the turn with the Primordial Magic making his touchdown, Asami moving over and picking up the head, and then summoning a Tengu, who then flickers out, dropping a scheme marker. And that's it, guys. There's the end of the game. The Ten Thunders scored 2 points for Headhunter, 3 points for Leave Your Mark, and 2 points for Covert Breakthrough. The Neverborn scored 3 points for Headhunter, 3 points for Exhaust, as I took it off Asami on the last turn, and 3 points for Breakthrough, making this game 9-7 to the Neverborn. Really close game, really fun. Started off going really well in my favour, but once Skit happens, got his crew stuck in, mine just buckled under the pressure, and it was all we could do to just hang in there. Aminozaki's Terrifying was really quite difficult to deal with, and yeah man, double recall training means she can just hit so hard. Despite that, my Illuminated really tanked the damage well. Definitely can't complain about them. Asami's mobility was fantastic, and that ability to get scheme markers from flickering out Oni makes them really hard to stop in scheme marker based missions. And the Kamitachi in combination with the Terracotta Warrior was it was pretty useful in terms of drawing cards and pushing stuff around for my opponent. Very happy with with Lilith's Lone Wolf mission. She is just such a phenomenal scheme runner. And the Beckoner, the Beckoner. No-brainer for Headhunter, I think. So yeah, great game. Many thanks to my opponent. He was a great guy, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.